Hello everybody and welcome back. So today we're going to be starting a new decluttering series. I'm going to split it up into two parts just so I can be more in depth with the reasons why I'm keeping the product or decluttering the product. I like to do these every couple of months just so I keep my collection in check into the products I love the most. And with the things I'm getting rid of, I'm either going to be passing them off to friends and family since they are slightly used, or I'm going to be throwing them away if they are expired. And throwing them away, meaning I will try to recycle what I can. So before we start decluttering, I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get to it. Here is the first drawer we're going to be tackling today. So this one has all of my foundations and skin tints, my concealers, primers, powders, and my brow products. I used to have skincare and stuff in here, but I wanted this to just be makeup now. And this is the second drawer we're going to be going through today, which has my bronzers, setting sprays, highlighters, blushes, and I think that's going to be it for today. And in the next episode, we'll be tackling this drawer right here, which as you can see, I've been shoving a lot of random stuff in here, which is bad. But this has all of my lipsticks and lip products and salt. We'll be tackling my eyeshadow palette drawer and my eye extra drawer with mascaras, eyeliners, and all those single shadows. And if you see anything missing from my drawers, it's probably in my roundup section. I keep it all organized like this, or else I wouldn't be able to keep track. And then these are all things I have not tried yet. So I'm gonna start off with powders. I feel like that's a good way. Just because I feel like that's going to be the best way to get myself in the decluttering mood. Just because this one was on top, this is the Say Air Set. I'm going to be keeping this one. Although it's not a top favorite of mine, I've been kind of getting into it again. So I'm going to be keeping that. Same with my Annabelle Perfect Matte. There's a few really good drugstore ones in this section. The Wet n Wild Bare Focus one is amazing. And of course, same with the e.l.f. Prime and Stay powder. All of these are staying in my collection. This is the NARS Light Reflecting Powder. I'm going to let go of this one. It's not a favorite. I've had it for quite a while and I'm just kind of over it. This is a newer one to me. This is the Laura Mercier Ultra Blur. I've been enjoying my experience with this one. It's too new. I like it and I don't want to get rid of it. I have two shades in my Kosas Cloud Set. I have Feathery and Breezy. Feathery is the shade I use the most often, and Breezy is good for the winter when I'm super pale. I have three Huda Beauty powders, Cherry Blossom, Pound Cake, and Sugar Cookie. I'm going to be keeping all of these. I do use them all. This is the Dear Dahlia powder. I loved it in the beginning. I just never reach for it anymore, so I'm going to let go of this powder. This next one is the Pat McGrath Loose Setting Powder. I have not reached for it in the longest time, so I think I'm going to let it go, surprisingly. But speaking about this Pat McGrath powder, the Blurring Under Eye powder, ultimate favorite, never leaving my collection. I have two of the Airbrush Flawless Finish powders from Charlotte Tilbury, both in the same color. This one here is almost finished, so I'm going to keep the two. I have the Rare Beauty Loose Setting Powder, which I will be keeping. This is a really amazing loose powder, one of my favorites, and this is another one of my top favorite powders. This is the LYS Triple Fix. It's phenomenal. It's very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury one, but I feel like it does more for my oily skin. And then finally I have this one here, which sadly is pretty cracked, but it's a newer one to my collection and I'm going to be keeping it. I can maneuver it, I just won't be traveling with it. I'm going to wait to put away the powders, but now I'm going to move on to primers. So starting off with a favorite, this is the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer. This one right here is actually empty. I just put it up to my light. There's literally nothing in there. So I'm going to be recycling that if I can. And then I'm going to be keeping this. This is one of the best primers in my opinion. It does it all. fantastic. I also have all of my eyeshadow primers in my primer section, which I will be keeping all of these. I have the Fenty Beauty eye primer, which is my favorite. My second favorite, which is the Rare Beauty one, which offers a little bit of coverage. This one's my favorite from the drugstore. It does a really great job. It's quite similar to the About Face one too. They all perform really well, and they make my eyeshadow looks last. So this is the MAC Strobe Cream. I'm actually going to let this one go. I just don't use it. I was debating getting rid of it last decluttering series, and I haven't used it since then, so I'm going to let this go. This is the e.l.f. Acne Fighting Putty Primer. Although this one is no longer a favorite, I'm going to keep it to finish this one off. There's just a little bit left. I also store my glow boosters in this section. I adore the Auric Glow Less, so I'm going to be keeping both shades. I use Pyrite and Selenite. I have my Milk Makeup primers here. I love the Hydro Grip, but I don't really like the Pore Eclipse, so I think I'm going to let that one go, but I'm keeping Hydro Grip, of course. This is the Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm. I really like this one. This is the shade Universal. It's just clear. It does a really great job at keeping those oils at bay, especially in the summer. This was a lifesaver, so I'm going to be keeping that. I also have this random color corrector from Fenty Beauty in the shade Rose Quartz. I love, love, love the match sticks, don't get me wrong, but I do not like the formula under my eyes. I found it to be a little bit drying, so I am going to let this one go. I have some primers from Iconic London. Well, this is their Glow Booster, and this is their Underglow Primer, which I just adore. I'm going to be keeping both. I use Champagne Glow and the Radiance Booster. This is the Power Grip Primer from e.l.f. It's very comparable to the Milk Hydro Grip. Actually, my Hydro Grip looks like a different green than it usually is. It's looking a little swampy, and I know it turns swampy when it's done. So I kind of feel like mine is expired. I think I have an extra in my backups, but I feel that's definitely not the right green it's supposed to be. But this is very comparable. It does a fantastic job at prolonging the wear of my makeup. Yeah, it's definitely expired. You can see this is a fresh one that I got a couple months ago in PR, and this is my old one. You can see the differences in color is pretty clear. I have 3 shades in the e.l.f. Halo Glows. I'm going to be keeping all 3 just because I use this in so many different ways. Sometimes I use it as a skin tint, and I like to mix and match my custom shade, so I'm going to be keeping these. I'm also going to be keeping my 2 primers from Rare Beauty, the illuminating one and the blurring one. I think these ones are great. And the last thing I had in that section is this de-bronzy thing from Drunk Elephant. I'm going to be getting rid of this. I just did not enjoy my experience with it. There, that worked out. I wanted to have them separated between loose and pressed. And now I'm just going to quickly look through my brow products here. So now we're going to tackle the bulk of my top drawer. So let's go with foundations next. Starting off nice and easy, this is the Patrick Ta Foundation Duo, and I'm going to be keeping this. I adore this duo. Oh, kitty. I have 2 shades in the Kosas Revealer Foundation, and I loved this in the beginning, but then it kind of turned on me. I remember a couple times I wore it, it looked super grainy on my skin, almost like it was separating, and it was really just unflattering. I'm kind of willing to try it again, but I might just keep 1 shade. The 1 shade I always used is 170 Light plus Neutral Warm. This is the Glossier Skin Tint, which I will be keeping. I like to use this to mix or use on its own. This is the Dear Dahlia foundation. I find this to be very similar to the Armani Luminous Silk, but I actually prefer the Armani one just because this one can look mask-like and it can really take away the definition in my face and make me look like I'm flashing back, but there's no flash involved, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to let it go. But while I'm talking about my Armani Luminous Silks, I'm going to be keeping both of the shades I use, 5.9 and 4.5. This is the Dior Forever Skin Glow Foundation. I have 2 shades, 1.5N and 2N. These are some of my top favorite foundations ever, so I won't be getting rid of them. These are definite keeps. This is the Say Slip Tint. The last time I used this was in my full face of Say, and I have to be honest, I was not a fan of how it wore on my skin. It's just way too slippy for my skin type. It just makes me really oily throughout the day. I feel greasy and I just want to wash my face the whole time I'm wearing it. So I'm going to pass this on to someone else. I think I'm also going to pass on the Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizers from NARS, just because I found some other tinted moisturizers I use way more and like way more. This is kind of the same thing for me now. I loved it in the past, but there's since been incredible formulas that have entered my life, and these don't really hold a candle to those ones, so I think I'm going to let them go. I have 3 shades in the Fenty Eavesdrops, and I'm going to let go of the shade number 9 just because I'm good with the shades 5 and 8. 9 is just a little too deep, so I'm going to let this one go. I have 4 shades in the LYS Triple Fix Foundation, which used to be my favorite foundation. I would say that it has lost its title since. It's lost to the Dior Forever Skin Glow, I would say, or the Armani Luminous Silk, or a few others that are coming up. I feel as though I'm going to just keep maybe 2 shades. I don't need all 4, because same thing as the Fenty, I can mix to create my own color. But I'm going to swatch them real quick. LN6, LG6. That's MN1 and MN3. So I'm going to be keeping the M's. The L's are going to be taking the L. They're too light for me. Now this is a foundation I've kind of forgotten about. This is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I'm going to be keeping 2 shades. I'm going to keep this pink toned one and this yellow one because I like to mix them to create my own color, just because there wasn't a shade that perfectly matched me in the range, so I had to build my own. I found them to be really pink or yellow. This one right here, shade Salzburg, is way too yellow for my skin tone, so I'm going to let that one go, but keep Fiji, and I don't know what color this is because the sticker fell off, but I have a feeling it's like Yukon. I don't know why that's ringing a bell, but I think that's what it is. The Rose Inc Skin Enhance Tinted Serum, an obvious keep. I adore this stuff. This Chanel one is very similar, but it's just more full coverage. I love this one too, so I'm going to be keeping it. I have 3 shades in the Lancome Care and Glow Foundation, which I love. I have 1 shade that doesn't work for me. I don't even know, it doesn't even have the shade name on it. I don't know what it is, but I'm keeping 240W and 125W. This is a foundation I love to fall back on. I trust it so much. This is the Makeup Forever HD Skin. I have 2 shades, 1N10 and 1N14, keeping both. This next one is the Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation. I'm going to let this one go. I never ever reach for it or think of it. I think I like the other ones I've mentioned so far a lot better. I don't think this is going to hold a light to those for me. This is the Rare Beauty Positive Light Tinted Moisturizer. I really enjoy this one. I think I need to pick up another shade actually, because this one's a little bit deep. It's my perfect summer shade, but I really like this one's consistency. It looks phenomenal, so I'm going to be keeping that. I have 2 Danessa Myricks foundations. I have the Vision Cream Cover and the Yummy Skin Serum Foundation. I think my memories of this are fuzzy, so I need to rediscover it. And the Vision Cream Cover is awesome, especially if you're breaking out and you want to cover it. It's the most full coverage foundation I have, and it's incredible. It wears really nicely. It's just amazing, so I'm keeping both. This is one that kind of got lost in the back of my foundation drawer. This is the Born to Glow foundation from NYX. I've only used it once and I really liked my experience with it that one time, so I'm going to keep it around. This right now is what I'm loving the most. It's what I've been reaching for every day. This is the Super Smoother from Iconic London. It's my current favorite tinted moisturizer. I've been completely obsessed, for reals. This is the L'Oreal True Match Nude Tinted Serum. I really like this one. I think it's stunning in the summer. It's kind of like a more subtle version of the e.l.f. Halo Glow. Now that I'm saying that, that would be such a nice combination. I'm gonna have to try that, but I'm keeping it. And lastly, I have an absurd amount of these. These are the MAC Studio Radiance Face and Bodies. There's no way I need 5 shades. I know I was going to narrow it down in my last declutter. I have a faint memory of saying that, but I never did. But I'm going to do that now. So this is C0, which is very, very light, which I think I will immediately get rid of. I don't think I'm ever that color. It'd be good for mixing, but I think I have a dead-on match in here. This is the shade C1, which is a good one. I'm going to be keeping that. This next one is C3, which I believe is a good tanned shade for me. This is N0. And this last one is N1. I don't think this one is actually a good tan color for me. That's a little bit too yellow. I'm going to get rid of C0 and C3, but I'll keep N1, N0, and C1. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. So I tried to keep it at like the tinted moisturizers or the sheerer foundations, and then the foundations, and then the bigger ones back here. Concealer time. Starting off with Jones Road, this is the face pencil. I'm going to let this one go. I used to like this one for spot correcting, but there's other ones I use more so for spot correcting. I just forget about this one constantly. I have 2 shades in the Milk Makeup Future Fluid, which I completely have been in love with. It's a newer one, and I'm going to be keeping them. I have a few shades in the Fenty Beauty Bright Fixes. I wanted to see if there was one that I could get rid of, because I feel like I only use, oh damn it, that's the worst thing about this packaging. So much of it comes out. Yeah, I wanted to see if I get use out of all of these colors. So the first one I did right here is Butter. This is Golden Ivory, and this last one is Melon, which is a good color correcting shade. You know what? I'm kind of feeling unsure about my decision with this, so I'm gonna think on that. This is the Josie Maran Vibrancy Concealer. I'm going to let this one go. I just haven't reached for it in a long time. I used to really love it, but I think I've found better since. I have 3 shades in the Kosas Revealer Concealer, which I hardly ever use anymore, but I'm wanting to keep one. This used to be my ultimate favorite concealer, but it's since been replaced by the LYS Triple Fix Concealer. I find these to be very similar, but this one just wears a little bit easier. It doesn't crease as quickly or expire as quickly either. But speaking about the LYS, I'm keeping it. But these, I want to see what colors I've got. So this is 3.20, which is too dark. I'm gonna let that one go. This next one is 3W, which looks a little bit better. Oh, I just broke it. I just freaking broke the lid. I am the Hulk. And this last one smells fine still. I didn't give them a sniff test. Is 3W again. But they kind of look different in color, hey? I'm going to be keeping that last one. I recently got these in PR and they're unused or unopened, so I'm actually going to put these in my donate section. But these are the NARS creamy concealers. I just don't use them anymore. This is the NYX Bear With Me concealer. I love this one. It's a definite keep. Same with the Maybelline Under Eye Eraser. I have 3 shades in my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealers. I'm going to be keeping 2 shades, Madeleine and Café Con Leche. I never use the shade Marron Glacé. I have my Becca Under Eye Corrector, which I love. This is my favorite under eye corrector still, and Smashbox actually took a hold of this formula, so if you want it, you can still get it. This is my favorite concealer. This is the Lancome All Over Concealer. I'm going to be keeping 1 shade though because I never use the other. I always use 250 Warm Bisque, but I don't use 215 Buff Neutral. This is another great concealer, the Forever Skin Correct from Dior. Same kind of thing. I'm going to let go of 2N. It's too dark for me, but I'm keeping 1.5N. Another similar thing, these are the Huda Beauty concealers. I'm not going to be keeping Nougat, but I'm keeping Cotton Candy. This formula is awesome. It's a really great full coverage concealer. It feels really lightweight and gel-like. I love that one. I have 3 shades in my Clé de Peau concealers. I'm going to be keeping all of them. I use them for different reasons. One's for under eyes, and 2 of the others are good for correcting depending on my skin tone at what time of the season. I have 2 shades in the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is really no longer a favorite of mine. I never reach for it. I don't think about it. This NYX one really topped the game for drugstore concealers for me. This is the Milk Makeup Flex Concealer. Now that I'm thinking of it, I like the Future Fluid quite a bit more. This is the Danessa Myricks Vision Cream Cover, but in like a little brush applicator. This is fantastic for spot correcting. I'm going to be keeping this guy. This is another one of my top favorite concealers. I find this one to be similar to the LYS Triple Fix. It's been in my rotation a ton recently. I'm gonna keep that. This is the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer. I kind of like this one. It's not my favorite, but I don't want to get rid of it. I think the packaging's really cute, and I like to use it time to time. And the last concealer I have here is the Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer from Charlotte Tilbury. Now this one isn't, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but I'm not ready to let go of it. Now we're moving on to the second drawer, so let's start. I have 2 shades in the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, Tan Lines and Feeling Shady. I'm going to keep both. This is a contour color and a bronzing color. This is the Hollywood Contour Wand from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going to keep this one as well. I have 2 shades in the Rare Beauty Cream Bronzer. I'm going to get rid of the shade Power Boost just because it's not my color. I never reach for it, but I like the shade Happy Soul. This is another favorite of mine, the Makeup by Mario stick. An obvious keep. Same goes for these 3 from Makeup by Mario. These are the Soft Sculpt Skin Enhancers. Look at this, I recently hit pan. I have 2 match sticks, Amber and Amber Suede. Love these so much from Fenty. I have this Dior bronzer. I have not reached for it at all. It's so pretty to look at. I love how it's a little pillow. I just don't use it though, so I'm gonna let it go. I have 2 shades in the NARS cream bronzers. I really love this formula. I have Laguna 1 and Laguna 2. I like to mix them as well. They're so pretty, so I'm gonna keep those. Same goes for my Fenty Beauty creams and the bronzer. I just love their cheek products. Fenty kills it with the cheek products. I have this gorgeous thing. This is the Gucci Beauty bronzer. It's so beautiful. Another keep. I have the 2 shades in the Rose Ink bronzers. I've recently retried them and I just don't like them. I really tried, but I find them to be really, really dry and they look not the best on the cheeks. So I'm gonna let them go. This is a Trini London bronzer. It's so stunning. I love this one. It's very dewy, but it stays really well. I have 2 of the M Cosmetics So Soft Sticks, Terra and Summer. Beautiful contour and bronzers. I have the Patrick Ta Duo here. I adore this one. I have this itty bitty little bronzing stick from Milk. She's gonna stay. This next one is the M Cosmetics Sculpting bronzer. I wasn't sold on it in the beginning, but I've been growing on it more and more. It's really interesting. It does something different than other bronzers I've tried. It truly does sculpt but bronze at the same time. It makes it look like you're wearing 2 different products in the application of one. It's interesting. It's growing on me, so I'm not ready to let it go. Same with this. I'm not letting go of my Glowish bronzer. I can't. This is the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. I have not used this in so long, so I'm going to let it go. And this one might come to a surprise, so beware. I'm letting go of my tan palette from Natasha Denona. Here's why. I don't use this color, or this color. I only use this one, which I have in a single in my highlighters. She's gonna go. Weird, right? I don't know. I have the L'Oreal Infallible bronzer. This one's a really good one, so I'm going to keep it around. Same with my NYX Wonder Sticks. I have 2 shades. These are actually wonderful since the reformulation. I used to loathe them. I hated them in the beginning. And then I have 3 bronzers left, which I will be keeping all of them. The LYS, the Say Sunmelt, and the Merit bronzing stick. Now let's do my setting sprays, which I don't think I'm going to be doing too much here. I really like the Stay Over Fix Plus, so I'm going to let this one go, the original, and I'm going to let go of the YSL new one. I've never really used it. I love my Rare Beauty one. It smells so good and it's really effective. Same with the Charlotte Tilbury one. This is one of the bests. I really enjoy the Professionall one from Benefit. This one's really nice in the summertime, the NYX Matte Finish one. I already said I love this one. This is my #1 recommended, and this is a classic, the Urban Decay All Nighter. Now let's get into my highlighters. Starting with these are the About Face Light Locks Illuminating Body Shimmers. They're really cool. They have really interesting shades. Hold on, there's gonna be like a weird snake coming out of here, I know it. Oh, damn it. Like this one is really cool, and you can use them on your face as well. So they have this really cool purple one in the shade CGI and this green one in the shade Light Warp. I really like this one. I don't think I'll ever use the green one. This one would look cool. I don't know when I'm going to use it, but I don't want to part with it. I have the Rose Ink highlighters. I'm going to let them go too. I just don't like them. I have 3 shades in the About Face liquid highlighters. I have Shaken or Stirred, which is my favorite for every day. It's a nice goldeny tone. I have Roses in the Walls, which is a great pink tone, which is fun to use as a blush. It's kind of reminiscent of Pinkasm from Charlotte Tilbury, and this really interesting purple one, kind of similar to the body one now that I'm thinking of it. Very similar. So with that being said, I'm going to let go of the Light Lock and just keep the actual highlighter because I don't think I'm going to use that all over my body. And if I want to, I can just use this one. I'm going to just go through a couple of my obvious keeps. So my Ilia Decades highlighter, my NARS Fort de France, my Natasha Denona I Need a Glow. I love my Cosmetics Moonbeam liquid highlighter, same with my Sunscape one in the shade Clarity. I'm going to be keeping my Melt Sex Foil, same with my Trini London highlighter, my Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight, my Burt's Bees The Luminizers, MAC Hush, which is actually getting discontinued, I believe, which is just, I don't even think I can talk about right now. I think those are my obvious keeps that I'm seeing right now. I have 3 shades in the Rare Beauty highlighters. I don't use these as often anymore, but I don't want to get rid of them, so I'm gonna keep them. I have 2 from Fenty Beauty here. I'm going to let go of the Liquid Kilowatt. Not my favorite, but I'm going to be keeping Ice Cream. I think this one is really nice. This is a really fun one from Daniel Sandler. It's super liquidy, but it's so pretty. This lighting right now does not do it justice. It looks kind of patchy, but it does not look like that on the skin. This is another Dior product. Similarly to the bronzer, I just don't really use it, so I'm going to let it go. And this is the Ilia Cosmic Dancer highlighter, which feels kind of dry compared to the other ones I've swatched. But it is really pretty. I know it looks really nice on. Right now it looks kind of like a concealer compared to the other ones. It's way more opaque than you'd think. I'm really picky when it comes to highlighters, so if they make it into my drawers, I most likely like them. I have the Bionic Glow from Milk Makeup. I think I enjoy more than the lipstick, but I'm gonna keep both. And the last one I have in my collection here is the Day Glow from Flower Beauty, which I like. It's now blush time. So these are all of my About Face Cheek Freak blush bombs. I'm keeping all of them. I love how they all fit in here and I love looking at the range. I think it's very satisfying. So I'm keeping all of these. Let's start off with this little section here. So starting off with the Danessa Myricks Dewy Cheek and Lip Palettes, I rarely actually reach for these, shockingly. I loved them in the beginning. I think I'm going to keep both, but I am kind of surprised I don't use these more. I have a few from Fenty here, Peach Face, Bikini Martini, and Rosé Latte. This shade is so fun and unique to my collection. So is Peach Face, which is a limited edition thing from 2021. It's so pretty. I love all 3. This is a Chanel blush, which is really unique. It looks like coffee grounds in serum, but then you like kind of moosh it around and it turns out to be this really pretty chestnutty orangey shade. I like it, and it looks like a cheek stain. It's fun. I'm gonna keep it. These are my MAC blushes, which I'm going to be keeping all 6. I have 3 in the Glow Play and 3 in like the original. So I have Peaches, Gingerly, Burnt Pepper, then So Natural, That's Peachy, and this one is my newest one, Heat Index, which I haven't used yet. I've swatched it, but I haven't used it. It's so vibrant. And the rest in here are still relatively new to me, so I'm going to be keeping everything. So I have the Laura Mercier in 3 colors, which I do like those. I have Persona Bubble in the cream and powder version, and 2 e.l.f. blushes. I have all of my serum blushes here from M Cosmetics. They recently reformulated as well as repackaged them. And I'm going to let go of all of my old ones. They are very old and the new formula is really nice. It's more pigmented, so I'm going to get rid of all of these old ones, plus the new shade Autumn Sky. It just does not look good on my skin tone. But that's it there. It's really pretty, like I love the color, but on my cheeks it's not a good match. And this is the last section we're going to be going through today, which holds the bulk of my blushes. Starting off very easily, these are all of my Rose Ink blushes. I'm keeping them all. Simple as that. Same with my Patrick Tub blushes. This is a Kosas Duo. It's Tropic Equinox. I'm going to let it go. It used to be a favorite of mine. I just have not reached for it in so long. This might come as a shock, but I'm going to let go of my Melt cream blushes. I just never reach for them anymore. Every time I look at them, they kind of stress me out for some reason, just because I never feel compelled to reach for them. So I'm going to let them go. They do have some really pretty colors, don't get me wrong. The spark is missing for me, and I feel like I don't want them anymore. I feel like I'm in that scene right now in Toy Story 2 when Jessie gets abandoned. That's how I feel these blushes are feeling right now. Sorry, you'll find a better home. These are my M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow blushes. I adore them all. I'm keeping them. These are the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer blushes. I've learned to really dislike these. They're really patchy and hard to work with, so they're leaving. I'm also going to be, shockingly, getting rid of this. This is the Cover FX Warm Honey Duo. I haven't reached for it in so long, and I have some other colors that are quite similar to this that I enjoy more. I'm just gonna let it go. I have 3 of the Rare Beauty melting blushes. I love this formula. I think it's really unique and it's so cute, so I'm keeping these. These are my Huda Beauty cheek sticks. I'm just going to let go of this pink shade, the shade Proud Pink, just because it's not very flattering on me. I think it's such a cute looking color. Every time I swatch it on my hand, I feel like I want to keep it, but on my actual cheeks, it does not look good. So that's the shade I'm going to get rid of, but I'm keeping the rest. I love these. I'm keeping all of my So Soft blushes from M Cosmetics as well. I think this is such a cute range. I have 3 shades in the Daniel Sandler blushes. I'm just going to let go of one shade because it's too pale. That's the shade Cherub. I really wanted to like it, but it looks kind of chalky on my skin. It's not the right color. These are old as the hills, but I'm keeping them. These are my cloud paints from Glossier. They're too nostalgic. I'ma keep them. This is a very similar product. This is the Quo Beauty blush. I'm going to let it go though. I never wear it. I find it to be too brown for my cheeks now. I have a variety of the liquid blushes from Rare Beauty. I just don't really like these 2 colors on me. I feel like they don't flatter my skin tone for some reason, but I'm keeping all of these. It's Joy and Bliss. I'm going to let those 2 go, but I love the rest here. Hope, Believe, Encourage, Happy, and Truth. These are some of my most favorite blushes, the Tower 28 Beach Please ones. You can also use these on your lips. I love the tones. I have 2 shades in the Say blushes, Poppy and Chili. Love them both, keeping both. This is apparently where I kept my little freckle products as well. I have the Nabla one and 2 of the Frex, so I'm gonna keep them. I have the Dior blush. You know the one, keeping her. This is another Undone Beauty product. I love this color. Like, look at that. It's so pretty, but I find these to be difficult to work with. They're the water blushes. They just, once they're on your cheek, they kind of stain you right away and they don't blend out nicely. Like if you leave it for 1 second, like I just did, it creates a really harsh line, so I'm letting it go. It's too difficult. I think I'm also going to let go of my NARS ones. There's so many times where I reach for them and then I'm like, ugh, I don't want to use these, and I reach for something else. I constantly pick them up, but I never use them, so I'm going to let them go. These are the Air Matte blushes from, this is another one that I kind of fell out of love with. This is the Pillow Talk Lip to Cheek Glow from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Color of Passion. Ooh, that is a really nice color. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm keeping that. I'm a silly goose. I have the Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand in Pinkgasm, keeping that. This is one of my favorite blushes. It's the Care Weiss, and oh god, I forget the color though. It's the shade Joyful. I know that for a fact. It's such a pretty sunburnt peachy coral. I have my 2 Merit blushes, which I love, Beverly Hills and Terracotta, keeping those. And the last blush I have in here is the Milk Makeup Swerve blush, which I don't use because it's way too pumpkin-y for my cheeks now. So I'm going to let that go. Here is the first drawer all complete. It looks so nice and neat. And here is the second drawer. I can't believe how many blushes I got rid of. And here are all of the products I'm getting rid of this time around. I did a way better job than I thought I did. This is a lot of stuff. And that wraps up part 1 of my decluttering series. I really hope you enjoyed it and found it satisfying and relaxing. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give it a like. It would help me out so very much over here. I appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!